Alright, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to do the blocking that I do with the DA. I started to do this in another video. If you did, some of you guys might have saw that video, and for a minute I was walking around with my phone going like this. And that was because what happened is I missed my pause, and then I got on the wrong side of pause. So when I thought it was paused, it was actually running the video, and then when I thought it was playing, it was paused. So it messed my whole thing up. Didn't get this in the other video, so that's why I kind of started out with that, and I just kind of left that in there about holding the DA flat. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that, and then we're going to do a little demo, and then I'm also going to show you in this video how to do the glazing that I do and a couple little tricks that I use on that. First of all, when you're blocking with a DA, you never want to block with it on edge like that. On a round part like this, you're going to need to be a little bit on edge. But on anything flat, the DA needs to be flat. And then what you do is you lean it about this much. Do you see? Not like this. Just a little tiny bit to where almost like your finger is holding it a little bit on one edge. So there's no actual edge being put on there. I'm just saying, you're holding it flat, but you're just putting it up just barely on edge so that it won't be like this. Okay, hopefully you can see all that, or like this. You want the DA very flat. So that's the number one thing. Also, a lot of people, no matter how many times I explain it to them, they still can't do it the way I explain. So this is not going to be for everybody. Some of you guys are going to need to do everything by hand. Most of the guys that I know who've been doing it a long time, they learned how to block with the DA and get it to come out pretty nice. So that's number one. Number two, you are not going to finish everything with the DA. You try to get as much as you can done with it, but you are going to have to do some stuff with a hand block, and I'll show you some of the hand blocks that I use. And a lot of people say that this won't work, but it really does. So here's a couple of different types of blocks that I use. This is a 3M hard block. And these are available at most paint stores. I usually use a 6-inch paper, but for some reason I accidentally ordered 5. But I usually use a 6-inch paper. So I use this after I use the DA a little bit on most areas to do a really nice finish job, but very little of it. I don't do that much. And then I also use a hand block like this. This is another 3M hand block. It's rubberized like that. It's very soft, but it's kind of stiff. It still has like a little bit of stiffness to it, but it's very soft. So it will. I use that on all the round corners, like this part. You can't really DA that very good. I'll do a quick DA over it, but I use the edge. Like when I'm sanding this, I'm going to be using the edge of the DA. Okay, I'm not going like this. I'm using a very flat part of it still, but I'm sanding it with the edge of the DA. That round corners, sanding them with the DA takes a lot of practice. You are going to screw up a bunch of times. You're going to definitely get waves in it the first few times you try it. But after you get good at it, you get to the point where you can do it without getting waves. And people will disagree, say, I can't do it, blah, 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 whatever. That's all you. I do it. If you want to, go to the link below on the description and look at the Mustang video. That was all done the same methods that I'm telling you guys right now, and there is no waves in that car, nothing. So, if you can find them, point them out. Just tell me where they're at. There's probably shadows. It's not the waves in the body. The car looked pretty good, and I did it really quickly. I did the whole car, a complete car from bodywork, welding, in 6 weeks, completed, done, and fully restored it, put all the interior in it, everything. So I've got my mask. Put this on. Got my sander. I like this Aircat sander. If you use too aggressive of a rotation on your DA, you'll end up with problems too, like if you're using a DAQ sander. I'll show you what that is. This is a real National Detroit DAQ. Dynabride has taken over the company. This is old. It does need a new bearing. This has a 3/8 throw. That I think has a 1/4 inch or less. You need to have a sander that has a smaller one. You can actually do it with this, but you're going to get waves in it. I can't sand with this and not get waves, but with this one I definitely can. So I'll show you a little bit about that. You don't want to push on the sander. You want the sander to do the work. You just hold it in place. Now what you're looking for is this right here. Let's take a look here. This is guide coat, just a spray can. You just put a real light coat over your primer. What you're looking for is this stuff right here. You see that? That is a low spot. What I'm going to I could do is, it looks like I hit a nib here, so I'm actually going through my primer. That is going to need to be glazed. So what I can do is mix up some glazing and I'll put that on. I'm going to go ahead and finish sanding the rest of the panel, and then we'll do some glazing and I'll bring you guys right back in. So there's a low spot. That one's not that low. I might be able to sand that just a little bit more and get that out. There's a low spot there. You can see that, the black, and there, and there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll feel it and I'll kind of determine, okay, if I take this down a little bit more, is that going to go away? Can I sand that one out? And, you know, slowly, not pushing on the DA, not pushing on it, but just holding it in the place where it's supposed to be and shaping it the direction it's supposed to go, the same way you do with the block. Now, sometimes what I'll do then, when I get to this point, I'll do a little bit by hand. I'll use my soft block if it's a round area. I'll use my hard block if it's a flat area. And then I'll just take it down a little bit more and check it and see what's real. See what's going to show up, what isn't. I'm feeling there's something right now that I think is definitely going to show up. So I'd like to put some more glazing on there. And that's what takes feel and practice. So in those low spots, I'll glaze it up. Of course, this here, Nick here got here. I'll put some glazing in there. This low spot right here above it. Put your whole hand on it. Feel it. Try and feel if it's going down or up. But sometimes with that guide coat, that'll tell you it's low, so you'll know what you're feeling. Because a lot of times when you're feeling it, you feel something, but you don't know if it's up or down. But when you have that guide coat, or you have a nib, which that's where the metal's coming through, then you know that's a high spot and this is a low spot. So I'm going to have to fill that. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to glaze this whole area. And this is what the glazing looks like. Here's the one that I use. Here's the glazing that I like right here, USC Pro Glaze. And I use also this filler, AG47. This can go over sanded primer. so can this. So sometimes stuff comes out really thin. It's very, very watery. Let's take a look at it. I'll show you. Take the lid off. There's not much left in here. You see it's kind of really thin. It's about like house paint. Okay. So something that I'll do, because I know this product is designed to work with this product. This is not recommended by them, but it's something I do that works. You could even use this product over the primer. You could sand it and put this over it. But what I do is I like this sands a little bit faster than this does. Just a little bit, not much. There's very little difference between the two. But what I'll do is, to get a little bit creamier mix, I'll take some of this and mix it together. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing, in fact, you know, this is completely up to you. This is not recommended by anyone, by the factory. It's just something that I've done that works. This particular glazing, this particular filler is spec'd to go over paint, wood, all kinds of stuff. It's a very high adhesion filler. Not all fillers have those properties. I would not use anything else other than this product to go over primer with, if you were trying to mix these together and do this. If I would not do it with anything else. And the reason I'll do that is because this product is designed for the same thing. It's designed to go over primer. Both these products can go over primer. So I don't feel like I'm going to be changing the adhesion of the product. I'm just sticking it up, thickening it up a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to apply. Because you'll find that this stuff here is so stringy that it just starts to almost run off the panel. It's really hard to keep on the knife. So just putting a little bit of that in with it, it just works so much better. That's what I've been doing, and it works fantastic. And it sticks really good. You can tell when it doesn't stick, because what happens is around the edge, let's look. Around the edge, as you begin to sand it off, what happens is you'll see, like it'll start, it just will be kind of not adhering to the edge of it. And this stuff, even with the filler mixed together, still the edges are really, really, really blended. So it's adhering really well to the primer. I've tested it, tried to scratch it off. It stays on really well. So that's why I do it. So I use 150. A lot of guys use 180. That's another preference thing. It's up to you on that. And I just put just a little bit of that filler in there, and you see how this is nice and thick now? It'll actually spread really easily. They do have fillers that are a little bit thicker, like this. They're polyester fillers, and they're designed to go over primer as well. But they don't sand as good as this stuff. So kind of formulated my own that works. So I'll just get it on here. And with this being like this, it's just so much easier to spread. You'll find if you're trying to use the Pro Glaze by itself, it's up to you if you want to try it or not. And like I said, they use it at your own risk. If it fails, don't come back to me. I don't think it will. I mean, I don't want to try and do anything that's going to fail. But I just put this on here real quick. I'm not going to get the whole thing done, but I just mixed up enough to give you guys an idea. I didn't try to get the right amount for this whole thing. But it just gives it that nice thickness that it needs to fill this. This is the straight glazing by itself. I was able to do that with the straight glazing. I started adding the filler to it just recently to check it out. I feel like it'll really work well. It seems to spread really well. I've used AG47 itself over the primer as a glazing, and it works for that too. Now you'll see there's no place that recommends putting filler over something that isn't sanded. So make sure you sand it before you put filler on. This stuff might even stick on its own, but I mean, this stuff, AG47, I mean, if it sticks to wood, it's pretty good adhesion. So anyway, so I put on my filler. This is going to take about You really want to let this dry really well, the glazing, and then sand it the same way. Flat block, you can sand it by hand, you can sand it with a block, you can sand it with the DA, as long as it's block sanded like you are filler, the same way. And again, I start with 150. If you want to do a smoother job, you go with finer paper. So you can go to 220, a little bit finer. You can go to 320. You can block it with 320. You can block it with 400. It's going to take you a long time to block it with 400. But what I usually do is I'll do in stages. So I'll go through and I'll do this with 150. And then if I'm going to do a really nice job, then I'll go through and I'll do it with, let me bring you guys back in a second. So what I'll do is then I'll start to do a 150 block, then I'll come back, prime it, do a 220 block, prime it, do a 320 block, prime it, do a 400 block. And then my last block, I'll use only this. So I could even go through and sand it. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and do a 220 block. All right. I block everything with a DA 220. Okay. Then I'll come back with one of my two sanding blocks like this, and I'll do my final block sanding with that little tiny block. People go, oh, there's no way you can get it straight with that. That's all you. If you can't do it, you can't do it. I do it like that. It works for me. So, and I did Mercedes, BMW, Rolls-Royce. I worked in a shop. We did Rolls-Royces. That's what we did. I did that for about a week. I hated it. I told them that was effing you. I told the guy he was a jerk. So I just said I left the place. All the prep I did passed. I was a painter's helper there for a week. And all the prep I did passed. And nobody else touched it. And it got shot. And came out perfect. So whatever. Tell me it doesn't work. Go ahead. But I do this little hand block. At the very end, what I'd use is, when I was doing really nice work, I'd use 400 in one of these, and I go like this. Really fast. We go over the whole panel, just whip through it. Okay, and just really good, and just get it, make sure you got every angle. Just whip through it really fast with a 400. And then that would take out the final waves that the DA would get, because you get like little microwaves in it from the DA. And that would take out the final waves. We paint it, and there was no flaws in them. Color sand and buff if needed. Some of them we didn't even need to do that. And it would go out the door looking perfect. It was perfect. There's no waves in it. So anyway, that's how I've done it before. That's how I do my glazing. I'll sand that. And then I can't get primer on this video. It's just going to take me too long. I'll have tons of videos on here before I get that done. But I'm going to go ahead and put this video in the beginning, and then I'll just stack some more stuff behind it. Watch the rest of it, and maybe at the very end I'll put primer on there. You can take a look at the panel when it's done. And probably we'll have to do 2 blocks on that, because that's quite a bit of repair I had to do on a second block. Sometimes I get less, sometimes I get nothing. When I've been doing body work every day, all day for months, then I probably won't even have to hardly even use any glazing. But I really whipped through these corners very quickly when I put the filler on. And I didn't take my time and really blast it. I just ran it really fast with a DA and then primed it. So I've got a little bit more blocking to do than I usually do. Or a little bit more glazing. Talk to you in the next portion. take a look at this primer while it's a little wet so you guys can see. Yeah, there's not much there now. No, it's looking pretty good. I'd say that's like 95% or something. Good enough. Just gotta open up the holes again for the taillight. Let's take a look at that one. Look at that. Let's see if that looks good. Down below, about right here, you can't see anything. It's all covered up, but wouldn't matter. That's that corner, homemade, handmade corner. So I got a coat of primer on this. This has already been treated. Actually, what I'm going to do on this is I'm just going to epoxy putty fill the holes, fill it in. There's no structure to this. It's just, you know, mostly cosmetic. So I'll fill in the epoxy putty the holes up, and then just the rest of it I'll just go ahead and use some polyester glazing or something on it. Got this thing all primed out. I mean, this thing's pretty good. This was a pretty good piece right here. I was really lucky on that. I got there was some stuff in the holes. I did on my other channel. I just showed people how to remove a broken screw. Alright, so that's that for that. That's how it turns out with the DA. 99% of it, I just do just a little tiny bit with a hand block. That's it, just enough to knock out the DA marks. And that's all DA blocked. Check out below the Mustang build. The video has hardly anybody has watched it. Nobody knows, you know, that video even exists. Hardly. There's only less than 1,000 watchers right now. And let's see if we can get that thing up to like 10,000. Because, you know, I did the prep all the same way. I did this same way, exactly the same. I used a little bit different primer. I didn't use Tamco on the finish, but I did use something very similar almost, but not as hard as hers. Hers is a way harder finish, and it paints about the same. It's another BASF resin, but it's a production resins she uses premium grade. That's a lot better stuff. So take a look at that video, and you'll see, you know, what the result is from doing it this way and spending a little bit more time. I may not spend that much time on this. And remember, this is like painting a house, and that's a, you know, or this is like painting a hotel, and that's like painting a house. So it's a lot bigger, more surface area on this. So I'll probably have a few things I'll miss on this. I'm not going to get it that nice. I'm not going to even try to get it that nice, but it'll be nice. It'll be nice enough for what it is. Talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.